There is a pattern that repeats itself over and over in the financial world. A wealthy person loses everything. Business fails. Market crashes. Bad investment. Whatever the reason, it is all gone. And then within a few years, they are wealthy again. Meanwhile, someone who wins the lottery or receives a large inheritance loses it all within the same time frame and never recovers. Same amount of money. Completely opposite outcomes. And the reason why reveals everything about what wealth actually is. Most people believe that wealth is money. That if you just had enough of it, a big enough windfall, a big enough salary, a big enough inheritance, your financial problems would be solved forever. But history keeps proving that belief completely wrong. There are countless stories of people who received enormous amounts of money and lost every penny within just a few years. And there are equally countless stories of people who built fortunes from nothing, lost them completely, and then rebuilt them again almost as if the setback never happened. The money was never the thing that made them wealthy. Something else was. Something invisible. Something that cannot be taken away no matter what the market does or what goes wrong. And until you understand what that thing is, you will always be one bad year away from losing everything you have built. Researchers who study wealth and financial behavior consistently find that the difference between people who stay wealthy and people who lose wealth permanently is not intelligence. Not luck. Not connections. It is something called financial identity. The deep internal belief that wealth is a natural state for you. That building it is something you are capable of. That losing it is temporary, not permanent. And that identity, once built, is almost impossible to destroy. The first reason wealthy people rebuild is they never stopped thinking like wealthy people. When most people lose money, they immediately shift into a scarcity mindset. Every decision becomes about survival. Every opportunity looks like a risk. Every dollar that goes out feels like a threat. And that mindset, while completely understandable, makes rebuilding almost impossible. Because you cannot build wealth from a place of fear. Fear contracts. Fear avoids. Fear keeps you safe and stuck at the same time. Wealthy people who lose everything do something different. They grieve the loss genuinely. They acknowledge the pain of it. But they never change their fundamental identity around money. They still see opportunities where others see obstacles. They still think in terms of assets and income streams. They still make decisions based on long-term thinking rather than short-term panic. The mindset that built the wealth the first time is still intact. And that mindset is the real engine. The money was just the output. Now here is the part that is going to completely reframe how you think about financial setbacks. The second reason is that wealthy people treat failure as data, not identity. When a regular person faces a major financial loss, it often becomes part of their story in a permanent way. I lost everything. I failed. I am someone who cannot hold on to money. That narrative attaches to their identity and shapes every financial decision they make afterward. When a wealthy person faces the same loss, they treat it as information. What went wrong? Why it went wrong? What they would do differently? And then they use that information to make better decisions going forward. This is not because wealthy people feel less pain. They feel it just as deeply. It is because they have a fundamentally different relationship with failure. They were taught, either by experience or by the people around them, that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process of success. It is tuition. Expensive sometimes. Painful always. But never final. That one shift in perspective is worth more than any amount of money. Because it means no loss is ever truly permanent. Every setback becomes a setup for the next attempt. And the third reason is the one most people never consider at all. The third reason is their network. Wealthy people are surrounded by other wealthy people. And that network does not disappear when the money does. The relationships, the knowledge, the access to opportunities, the people who will take a phone call and open a door. All of that remains intact even when the bank account hits zero. And that network is itself a form of wealth. One that took years to build. One that cannot be liquidated or repossessed. One that quietly starts generating new opportunities the moment the person is ready to move again. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of wealth building. Your network is your net worth. Not as a motivational slogan, as a literal financial reality. The people you surround yourself with determine the opportunities you are exposed to, the knowledge you have access to, the standards you hold yourself to financially, and the speed at which you can recover when things go wrong. Building a network of people who think bigger than you is not about being fake or transactional. It is about deliberately choosing an environment that raises your financial ceiling instead of reinforcing your current floor. Here is what I want you to take from this video. Wealth is not a number in a bank account. It is a mindset, an identity, a set of skills and relationships that exist independently of any specific amount of money, which means it can be built deliberately, starting from wherever you are right now. You do not need to have lost a fortune to start thinking like someone who could rebuild one. You just need to start developing the mindset, the identity, and the network that makes wealth a natural recurring outcome rather than a lucky one-time event. Because the goal is not to get rich once. The goal is to become someone who stays rich. And that version of you is built one decision, one belief, and one relationship at a time. Drop in the comments, if you lost everything tomorrow, what do you think you would do first? Your answer is going to tell you a lot about where your financial mindset actually is right now. And if this video shifted something for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe because every week we go deeper into the psychology and the truth behind money. I will see you there.